Hey guys, and welcome to Pheas Airsoftware. Today I'm going to be doing an unboxing on this East Crane EC-909 LR OBR DMR. Hey guys, and welcome back. If you do enjoy this content today, please do consider liking, commenting and subscribing, because those interactions really help me get seen by the YouTube algorithm. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, drop by the Linktree link down below in the description. That'll head on over to my socials, including my Discord. Make sure you stop by and say hello. If you want to support the channel a little bit more, channel membership is open. The join button down below might not appear on some Apple devices. We'll take you to channel membership, 99p a month, totally optional, really appreciated. Gets you custom videos, custom giveaways, and a bit of a say in the running of the channel and that kind of thing. Again, really optional, but massively appreciated. So, I'm back then with this EC-909 LR OBR DMR. AEG just rolls off the tongue, that doesn't it, as a name. I've had to write that down basically to be able to see it. So by East Crane or ENC, I am really looking forward to this, particularly because it's built with the intention of being a DMR out of the box, locked to single shot as well. It's got an inline MOSFET, it's got 6.04 tight bore barrel as well, and a quick change spring. So I'm quite interested to see how this shapes up as a piece of kit. So the box then, just as we've seen before with the East Crane or ENC, just plain black box. I assume this makes it easy for them because they can buy them in set shapes and sizes and just fill out the foam as need be. So I've got a couple of pull tabs, so one there, one there. Open that up. Now we've got a little bit of a booklet telling us apparently it's 442 FPS on a 0.2 gram BB. We'll check that out. And we've got a manual that is not for this specific piece of kit, but it's got the general operating in there for AR platforms in general. So I'll get rid of that. There she is. That is a pretty damn nice piece of kit. I am loving the chunky body, but I'm not going to get ahead of myself. So we have got a 7.62, oh, some BBs in it still, 7.62 type magazine, so thick and chunky. It is compatible with the SEMA and A&K, I believe Classic Army as well. I have read that G&G is a no-no, don't use the G&G ones in there. So we've also got a little bag of silica gel, how lovely, and we've got a, wow, a little tiny Deans to mini Tamiya. For me, that's not amazingly useful, but okay, that's fine. It's in there. Just having a look down the sides, I can't see any evidence of an unjamming rod. So I'll get this out. We'll lift this beautiful piece of kit out. Now, there is some real sort of nice weight to that. Let's lift the box out of the way. So, that is pretty damn impressive out of the box. That is a rather nice piece of kit. The bolt cover is still open, so we'll ping that. We'll look at that in a moment. Let's have a look at the front then. We've got a really nice metal muzzle brake there, really meaty. We have got a little set screw, as I've learnt they are now called, or otherwise known as a grub screw, in there that we'll need undoing. This will come off with a 14mm negative thread, so you can attach whatever you want on there. We've then got at the front of the handguard, a metal handguard. We've got these little rail panels on at the front, as well as the rail for days across the top, so you can mount as many optics as you wanted across there. But these are going to be useful for mounting. They are actually nylon. It's just occurred to me, these are nylon. Those little rails are actually like basically plastic. A little bit sharpness to them. Nothing to worry about, just something to be careful of. But they're particularly useful for a torch, for example, as an accessory. So we've then got the rest of our rail unit, which has got these metal panels on. And after the shooting test, I will come and remove one of these to see what it is underneath. I don't even know what's under there. We'll also, after the shooting test, that is a quick release rail unit. So you can flip these open, unclick that, and your rail unit will slide off. Now, in terms of airsoft, that's not very useful to us, unless you like to. It doesn't take the barrel. It just takes the rail unit. So unless you have another rail unit that you want to just quick change in battle. So semi-pointless, but a cool thing at all. And it actually makes me smile knowing that if I wanted, I could just remove my rail unit. So moving back onto the receiver then, very plain and simple, but I quite like the angular cut to it all. That, you know, it's not rounded, you've got more of an angular cut to it, and that's quite nice. So I've got a very typical AR type pistol grip. The corner is a little bit rounded, so it's not going to be sharp and catch on you. You've got the integrated trigger guard there, so you're not interchangeable. You've got your rather bulky, nice open magwell there for that mag to go in, and it does click in really firmly. Now, in terms of wobble, there is a little bit of sideways wobble and a tiny bit of front to back wobble, so I'll have a look at that during the shooting test. Coming to the right hand side then, we've got the ejection port, which operates using the charging handle, and it locks open as well. It is just a one side release, so if I press this button, that I do like when they do that. It's a nice feature. It is the sort of long version 2 style gearbox that's in there. Very plain, normal, standard AR. Mag release button in there. So we've got access to our rotary style hop there, and I believe, let's have a check, it is rolled down to apply hop to that. Pistol grip we talked about. The selector then has only got 2 markings on it, safe and semi. Now the selector will go round and click into what should be auto, and it will keep spinning, but it is MOSFET controlled, I believe. There is an inline MOSFET in there. I suspect that's how they're doing the single shot. Coming to the back then, I would have liked to sling loop, but it's not a game changer as such. You know, it's just nice to have one there. We have then got, bring that forward, a crane stock. So in terms of battery space, you pinch together. Oh, it's one of those types. That's a little bit disappointing, but never mind. So the back panel comes off, and then you've got this panel that comes out, and then you've got a semi-awkward battery space in there. What I'll do is I'll take the stock off completely. So all I did was compress that button to extend it out, and then pull down on the tab to release it. So it is a 6-position stock, and our wiring is there, look, with our little teeny tiny inline MOSFET. Now there's no documentation that I can see that suggests it's programmable in any way. It's just a basic MOSFET effectively. So if you wanted to change that up, you possibly could get a very compact stick LiPo in there, but it'd have to be pretty damn tiny. It's going to be a tough job to get that wiring back in. A crane stock's the best option, but I don't really like that style. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go and do the shooting test, see how I get on, and I'll be back in a second. Skying at the minute. There we go. A bit windy. It's absolutely flying. Tree lines just over 50 metres away. It's absolutely good. Flying beyond those. Still skying them a little bit. So max 344.4, minimum 335, average 339. Okay, so I am back then. There's no rate of fire test because it's single shot, so there is literally nothing to do. And you know, my trigger spamming is not a way to dictate rate of fire. But felt pretty nice to shoot. On an 11.1, it was significantly snappier than a 7.4, as you would expect. The 7.4 you saw during the chrono part of it. The 11.1 I used when I was doing the range, and really just like very snappy to just clicking it over straight away. I was messing with the mag a little bit while it was in there. It is a mid-cat. I can't actually see anything online that seems to suggest a number of rounds about it, but I would expect over 100 rounds in there, just purely because of the size and bulk of it. Even wiggling it about, it still kept feeding. The hop did take quite a bit of adjustment to get it to lift the 0.25s that were going through the tracer unit. So it took a little bit of a while to sort of get there. And even with the selector, you know, clicking it around into different positions, it did only safe and semi and nothing else at all. So I was happy with that. So I thought range, I've not commented on range. The range, basically the sort of range I'm shooting it across, you kind of lose sight of it properly at about 60 meters, and the trees across the way that I'm shooting it towards, I know from laser calculating that they are 50 plus meters away. I think they are 55 meters away. The BBs were still going across the top of those, so you are looking at well over 60 meters in terms of range out of the box. So I was really happy with the range it was putting out. I was, you know, considering this is potentially a DMR build for people, it felt really good to shoot, and the range felt good and it felt right. So I said we'd have a look at the rail unit. So to get this off, you have a little twisty thing there, and that side's already pinged up, and a little twisty thing there. Those are plastic, and that one flips up, and you can see already the gap started forming, and that literally just comes apart as quick and simple as that. Now what I'm just going to do is grab my tools and just take off one of these panels to see what is underneath, because I don't actually know what is under there. Okay, so let's have a look then. I'm going to use the Torx for this just because they tend to grab a bit better. Let's try a 10. A 10 looks to be doing the job. So it is whatever that is. Don't actually know what that attachment type of system is. It's not like you shot a rail with 3 front sections or anything, but there is that under each one of those. Those are particularly nice to hold. They're quite, because of the way that they're shaped and rounded, they feel pretty nice to hold. Put that out of the way. They do feel really nice. There's no sort of, you can feel the edges, but particularly with gloves on, that isn't going to bother you. And even to be fair, barehanded, not that I would play barehanded, but that's not bad at all. These little bits are sharp a little bit on the edges there, and the top rail just, not even that, it probably feels like it's been rounded ever so slightly on each corner, so even that's quite nice. You know, to sort of see and think about. We can just slide that back on. I'll show you what to do with this. Point of note, if you wanted to change the front end, you've got the, I want to say Delta ring castle nut there, so get a special little tool on that, release that. You might need to take the set screws out of there first to release that. That'll move forward and bring the gas tube with it out. Then you can undo this, and then that front end will come off like a traditional AR. So I'm just going to slide that on. Now, let's lift that up. There are locating lugs there that put it in place. It's now flush. I'm going to put the hook around. I've locked that down, and I'm going to twist that back round so I know that's locked in place. I'm going to come around the other side, hook that down, put that down, and twist that back into place, and that locks them in place then, and my rail can't go anywhere. In terms of movement then, there is literally no movement in any of that. That is really nice. There's a little bit of movement because the barrel is mostly free floating there. There's a tiny bit of movement which you sort of expect is going to happen. We've been really impressed with it actually. It is really nice. It feels solid, it feels lovely to shoot. What I have brought along is probably the smallest LiPo I've got a 7.4 volt. That's the smallest little stick one I've got, so I'm just going to drop that in there just to show you. That's where that sits up to. So that is a Giant Power 7.4 15C, and that just slides in there, and that's where it sits. You are very limited on your space in there to get the wiring in, and another stock that doesn't take a battery in it. So you are better off with a crane stock battery. It is going to be a faff to get the wires manipulated down the side, put the plug in. I mean, in theory, you might even want to just play without that and just play with that locked in like that. You are going to expose these wires a little bit, but if it saves all the faff and hassle of trying to manipulate that into position, that's probably more favourable than sort of messing with that. But it's your choice. You know, I just want to be here to tell you and show you about these things. So last thing I'm going to do then is I'm going to grab my gloves and I'm going to do the gloves operation. Now I can't find my normal boxed gloved operation, gloves. So I'm going to have to use my trusty XL Oakley gloves that I wear to play in, because they will have to do today. So I've got my gloves on. So in terms of this, let's package this up. It's a good way to check actually if I could do the stock and what have you. So I'm just going to get that back in there. Just be careful, because the little thin red wire is like a sort of power feed to the MOSFET. You damage any of those, you're going to basically have stopped your brand new piece of kit working. So that's in there. I can get that on. I can get that in. I can easily adjust that. That's not a problem. I can get the stop plate out. I can get that out. Putting a battery in and out is probably going to be a little bit of a mess and a faff. I probably wouldn't do it with gloves on, but with a crane stock, you're probably not going to need it anyway. Fire selector, nice and easy. The trigger, nice and easy. In terms of the mag, nice and easy. It's a mid cap, so I'm probably going to use a speed loader anyway to fill that. So that's nice and easy with gloves on. In terms of this side, I can, same old problem, I can do it. I just don't know how much I'm adjusting that hop unit, but I can release that again. I can probably even take off the rail unit as well with my gloves on. So, the EC-909 then, it is a single shot piece of kit. It is putting out some fantastic range. I have just realised I didn't talk about FPS. It's doing, I don't know what's happened, where the issue is, but it looks like the chrono sheet in the box, maybe factory chrono. I assume because it's coming to the UK before a retailer sold it, it's probably been downgraded below UK FPS. So it's doing sort of like 340 FPS, which I was a little bit disappointed in, but you know, the law's the law, I suppose. I'm not sure if that's exactly what's happened. That's just the chrono that it came out at with 0.2s with the hop fully off. So I don't know specifically what's gone off there, but just sort of to be aware of, I guess, and think about. Fantastic piece of kit, really rock solid. It's quirky and not necessary for airsoft, but I love the quick release on the rail unit. I love the overall look. The handguard is chunky and beefy and it feels impressive. Just shouldering it feels nice and feels right. I know a lot of people are sort of single shot only players. Even running it just as a single shot only platform, it feels good and feels nice, and it will serve you well even in that role, as well as a full DMR if that's the route you want to go. So I hope you enjoyed that. I've enjoyed it immensely. I've just realised another thing I forgot. God, I'm having a bad day today. The front sights are just flick up front sights. I don't think I've got quite enough room to get down those properly. Not quite. But you've got the little rear sight has got two options on it to flip back, forwards. The front sight is adjustable in the middle. You can get some pliers on that to nip it and unscrew it and to adjust it up and down. And if you don't want them up, you just flick them down and they're out of the way. And there is just a Phillips head screw there and a Phillips head screw there, and those will just come off of that top rail for you. So thank you for watching. Hope you've enjoyed that immensely. I have thoroughly enjoyed it. I absolutely think it's gorgeous. I think it's at least as nice as the SEMA SR25 sort of builds that we've done before. Really, really lovely, solid piece of kit. I was impressed with ENC last time. This is no different. So, Thank you very much. Please remember to like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you next time. Bye.